Hi everyone, let's learn about writing formal letter of complaint today. Let's see, what are we going to learn today? We will touch on number 1, format, number 2, what language are we going to use, number 3, who are the audiences, number 4, sample addresses, number 5, the best way to write dates. Number 6, how to write the subject heading of the letter. Number 7, how to write the complementary clause. Number 8, what connectors do we use? Number 9, how to plan your essay. Number 10, let's look at some sample introductions, conclusions, and lastly, sample essay. Let's look at the first segment, format. In a formal letter, we must have number 1, the writer's address. Number 2, we draw a line. Number 3, we need to write the recipient's address. Don't forget to underline the state. Number 4, date. Number 5, we need to have a salutation. Then you write the subject heading, introduction of the paragraph, body paragraphs, conclusion, complementary clause, then the writer's signature, lastly, the writer's name. Make sure you write in block letters. You may include your position if you are representing a club, society, or a residential area. Now, on to the second segment, language. What is the language style for writing formal letters? When we are writing formal letters, we must keep in mind it is formal. Number 2, we cannot use short forms like can't, don't, I'm, you are. We cannot use slang too. It is a no. For example, wanna, gonna, love. Of course, we must not use SMS language too. For example, okay, next section, audience. In writing formal letter, you must know who are you writing to. Are you writing to the school principal, or the municipal council director, or the manager of a restaurant or a shop, or maybe the superintendent of a hospital? Next segment, sample of addresses. If you notice, we need to write 2 types of addresses in a formal letter. So, we must not waste too much time in writing fancy names and addresses. Keep it simple. The first address we need to write is the sender's address. The second one is the recipient's address. Let's look at the sender's address first. Here is the example of the sender's address. Now, let's look at the recipient's addresses. When we write a formal letter, there will be several people we will be writing to. For example, the principal, or the municipal council, or maybe you'll be writing to a restaurant or a shop, or a hospital. Now, let us look at the examples of recipients' addresses. Next segment, dates. What is the best way of writing an error-free date? Usually, we are confused with the spelling of the month with the Bahasa Melayu, whether it is MEI or MAY. So, which month do we choose? Which month that we can be sure that the spelling is correct? We can use April, September, or November. Don't worry, you won't be penalized for writing fake dates. Next segment, subject. What is the simplest way to write a subject heading? You can always start off with complaints about. After that, you look at the question. What is the general idea your letter of complaint is about? Next section, complimentary clause. There are a lot of ways in writing your complimentary clause. For instance, yours faithfully, yours respectfully, yours truly. Don't forget to add S behind your and a comma after faithfully, respectfully, and truly. Next section, connectors. Your essay will be very boring if there is no linking words or connectors to connect your ideas together. What are the linking words we need? When we are writing a formal letter, we can use sequencing connectors. For example, first, second, third, next, lastly. When we want to give extra information, we can use furthermore, besides that, moreover, and to. Next, when we want to talk about cause and effect, we can use is caused by, thus, consequently, therefore, as a result, to make matters worse. When we want to give opinion, we can use I would like to suggest, I would like to make some suggestions. Moving on to the next segment, planning of paragraphs. There are several components in an essay, so what are they? The key to writing a good piece of essay is to plan it first. There are several components of an essay. These components we can outline in a form of a hamburger. So, what does the parts of the hamburger means? The top bun is the introduction. The lettuce is for body 1. The cheese is for body 2. The meat is for body 3. Lastly, the bottom bun is your conclusion. Now we know the components of an essay. How do we write it? For introduction, you need to have opening remarks and the purpose of the letter. As for body 1, you need to write what is the first problem and elaborate it by giving detail number 1 and detail number 2. For body 2, you need to write what is the second problem and then elaborate it again by giving detail number 1 and detail number 2. As for body 3, you need to write what is the third problem and then elaborate it by giving detail number 1 and detail number 2. Finally, we come to the conclusion. In the conclusion part, you need to tell the recipient what is your hope towards them and closing remarks. Remember, throughout the letter, your tone must be polite. On to the next segment, sample introductions. There are a lot of ways to start your formal letter. You need to bear in mind who are you writing to. Here are a few samples of introduction for you to use, or you can mix and match it. Next segment, sample conclusions. There are a lot of ways to conclude your letter. Again, you need to bear in mind who are you writing to. So here are a few sample of conclusions for you to use, or you can mix and match it. Last segment, sample essay. Here is a sample question and how to answer it to give you a rough idea on how to write your essay. Well, we have come to the end of our lesson. Hope you learned something from it. That's all, folks. Don't forget to subscribe my channel. Video presentation and copyright by Jamie Lim.